guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my June book haul. I've got quite a few books to show you that I acquired this month. So I think what I'm going to do is split this into two parts. So yeah, because otherwise this video is going to be super long. So let's jump into the books that I got in June. So the first lot of books I've got to show you are ones that I picked up when I went to the Globe Theatre. I went on a trip where we took some students to see Romeo and Juliet recently, and they've got a lovely little shop there and lots of books on sale. So the first one that I picked up was New Boy by Tracy Chevalier. This is a retelling of Othello. This is set in 1970s, I believe. Yeah, 1970s Washington in a school. So it's sort of taken the story of Othello, or Chevalier has, and retold it in that sort of setting. So I've been, I sort of had some of the Shakespeare retellings, the more modern ones, on my wishlist for a while. This one was published, I think, quite recently. Let's just see. Flip past it now. Yeah, 2017, so this is published this year. So I'm quite looking forward to reading a retelling of Othello, so we'll see how that one works out. Also picked up a couple of non-fiction, sort of textbooky type books. The first one is the Oxford Illustrated Shakespeare Dictionary. This was one that I was thinking of taking into school and keeping in my classroom, or I might keep it here, I'll sort of see. But this is by David and Ben Crystal, and basically they just take, it's set out into different sections. So for example, this one is the clothing section, and then you've got a sort of more like a dictionary style, so we've got some the letter C here and things like that, and it just takes some of those words that we're not so familiar with in Shakespeare and translates them into modern day English. So there's sort of like a nice little map of Shakespeare's Europe and the Mediterranean. I just really like the way that this was set out. There we go, there's a colour section and the illustrations in here. I just thought it was really fun and a nice little thing to be able to make reference to. And it wasn't that expensive, it was £13, so I picked that one up. The other non-fiction book that I picked up was this, A Shakespeare Theatre, and this is by Jacqueline Morley and John James, I think that says. And this is just sort of like a history of the theatre, including Shakespeare's theatre. So it goes from sort of early, let's just see, the origins of theatre, so sort of the Roman and Greek and medieval entertainment, and then all the way through to modern day theatre, including Shakespeare's theatre in here as well. Again, this is really nicely illustrated, so you can see in here. This is more of a children's book, obviously, but I just really like the way that this was set out. Again, I was considering taking it into work and keeping it in my classroom, but I might keep it here as well. Just a lovely, nice book to have as reference, really. The next set of books that I'm going to talk about I picked up when I did my bookshop tour of London video. I'll link that up here if you haven't seen that at the moment. So I'm not going to spend too much time on these, I'm just going to literally go through them really quickly. So I sort of explained at the end of that video what they're about and why I picked them up. So I picked up Another Day in the Death of America by Gary Young, My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier, The Good Immigrant, edited by Nikesh Shukla, and The Gender Games by Juno Dawson. Next up, I've got the set of books that I picked up when I went on that charity book shop hunt for the Books Papasan. So again, I'm not going to talk too much about what these are about, because again, if you want to see more of what these are about, you can check out that video, which I'll link up on the screen. So I picked up Labour Day by Joyce Maynard, Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill, The Lake House by Kate Morton, The House at Riverton by Kate Morton, and Into the Wild by John Krakauer. And then of course I also have here the book that my buddy sent me, which was The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I was lucky enough this month to win a couple of Goodreads giveaways. I've had a good run of luck of that lately, so I've got two here that I want to talk about. The first one is called The Hiding Places by What does it say who it's by? Catherine Webb. This is an uncorrected proof copy, and this comes out... Oh, it says it comes out in May, so it's already out. Already out, there we go. So if I read you what it's about on the back, it says, a murder, a man accused, and 2 women with everything to lose. The Hiding Places is the story of a peaceful village in turmoil, friendship against all odds, and most importantly, it's about uncovering the truth when you don't know who to trust. So, yeah, I was quite intrigued by the cover of this one. I thought it would be a nice kind of light summary read, so I'm quite happy to have that one. And the other one that I was kindly sent was The Honeymoon by Tina Seskis. I think that's how you say that. Apologies if that's wrong. This is a thriller. So this says on the back, for as long as she can remember, Gemma has been planning the perfect honeymoon. A fortnight's retreat to a 5-star resort in the Maldives, complete with luxury villas, personal butlers, and absolute privacy. It should be paradise, but it's turned into a nightmare, because the man Gemma married a week ago has just disappeared from the island without a trace, and now her perfect new life is vanishing just as quickly before her eyes. After everything they've been through together, how can this be happening? Is there anyone on the island who Gemma can trust? And above all, where has her husband gone? So, I've seen this around a little bit in shops and things like that, so I was quite happy to be sent a copy of that. And I think this is already out. This is the finished copy of it. So, yeah, I look forward to it. Again, this is probably going to be quite a nice little light summer read. Yeah, so there we go. And then lastly in this video, I'm going to talk about some books that I picked up when I was in Waterstones last week. So after I went to the charity shop that I filmed, I went into Waterstones. I wanted to pick my husband up a couple of books, which I won't talk about here, but I also picked up a couple of books for myself. And the first of those is Happily Ever After. They're companion stories to the Selection series by Kira Cass. So I've finished the Selection trilogy, I think last month or the month before, and this one is apparently the next one to pick up the stories. So I think this has sort of like 4 or 5 different stories in it from before and then during. Oh no, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's got quite a few more than I thought. So sort of stories from different characters' perspectives before and during the Selection itself. So this would be a cute kind of fluffy one for me to pick up, and then there are a couple more books in the series to follow after that. So I think there's one called The Siren, I think, and then there's one called The Air to kind of finish the series off, so I read this one first. I also picked up Orange Boy by Patrice Lawrence. This recently won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize for older fiction, so I was really interested in it for that reason, but also I listened to a podcast which I think is called Mostly Lit. I'll link it down below, and on the podcast Patrice Lawrence was on there and they were talking to her, and she just seemed like such an interesting person. She was talking about her book a little bit, but she was talking about her life and her reading tastes, and it was just so lovely to hear her talk. So this is, I think, her first novel. Let's just see. I think it is her first novel, and it was also nominated for the Costa Book Awards last year as well. And so this is a YA novel, and I'll read you the back. It says, "Not cool enough, not clever enough, not street enough for anyone to notice me. I was the kid people looked straight through. Not anymore, not since Mr. Orange. 16-year-old Marlon has made his mum a promise. He will never follow his big brother Andre down the wrong path. So far it's been easy, but when a date ends in tragedy, Marlon finds himself hunted. They're after the mysterious Mr. Orange, and they're going to use Marlon to get to him. Marlon's out of choices. Can he become the person he never wanted to be to protect everyone he loves?" I know that there was an event in Waterstones in Piccadilly that Angie Thomas went to, and Patrice Lawrence was there as well, so they sort of did the event together, and again sort of heard a little bit about her book from that on Twitter and things, so I was really interested to pick this one up. And the last 2 books that I picked up in Waterstones, the first one, loads of people have been talking about recently, and I'm really excited to read it, and that is When Dimple Met Rishi, I think that's how you say it, by Sadaya Menon. Again, apologies if I've got that wrong. Loads of people have been talking about this on BookTube recently, and when I saw it in Waterstones, I just had to buy it. So this says, meet Dimple. Her main aim in life is to escape her traditional parents, get to university and begin her plan for tech world domination. Meet Rishi. He's rich, good looking and a hopeless romantic. His parents think Dimple is the perfect match for him, but she's got other plans. Dimple and Rishi may think they have each other figured out, but sometimes when opposites clash, love works even harder to prove itself in the most unexpected ways. I mean, this cover is stunning, and I think it's going to tackle some topics that are really relevant but also really underrepresented as well. So I think that's one that I'm definitely going to get to sooner rather than later. And then the last one that I picked up in Waterstones is one that I heard Lala talk about on her channel, Books and Lala, and rave about, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to buy it, and that is The Names That They Gave Us by Emery Lord. This is another YA novel, and this, I believe, focuses around a girl whose mother, her cancer comes back, and so instead of sending her to the normal camp that she goes to every summer, they send her to a different one. So it says on the back, Lucy has her perfect summer planned out, perfect boyfriend, perfect job and quality time with her perfect parents. Then her mum's cancer comes back and suddenly life makes no sense. Before she knows it, Lucy finds herself agreeing to volunteer as a counsellor at a camp for troubled kids, where lives are more different from her own than she could have imagined possible. Here Lucy meets the dashing but mysterious fellow counsellor Jones, who will change the way she sees the world forever. With tragedy hovering at the edges of Lucy's life, this summer she must find out who she really is and what it means to love. I mean, this cover also is stunning. So I think this one's probably going to be a little bit of a tearjerker. But yeah, I've heard lots of people talk about Emery Lord and her other books, so I can see the one on the back, which I also recognise, When We Collided. So I'm looking forward to picking this one up and seeing what I think of it too. So there you go, guys, they were all the books that I'm going to talk about in part 1 of my June book haul. Keep an eye on my channel for when part 2 goes up, and you'll be able to see all the other books I picked up in June. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Which one do you think I should start with? Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.